This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
What is going on, dude?
And, oh, God.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I don't have a lid on. There we go. Is it straight? It feels like it's always crooked.
It's
you know
good.
what I'm saying to you?
Every week I think my hat's crooked. I think it's a camera warps you or something. You always see me doing this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, and that this ear is smaller than this ear. I can't ever get my head in the right spot for it. I'm like, oh, this is just absolutely ridiculous. What was I going to say? Hotter than the hinges of HE double hockey sticks right now. I think 93 here in Mobridge. Where are you at in Pierre?
I think it hit like 97 again.
Yeah, and then it's Storm and Norman where Eric is. So I suppose we might as well get to it. He's fishing and all that stuff, and I'd hate to just waste his time, but he's the second man up, and you'll have to explain that before we let Eric in.
Yeah, so we had Jason Stahl on the docket, and then he had league. So, Eric, I've been wanting to get this one on, and I hate to say he's second one. He's the second one up, but
hockey sticks are good. Yeah, right, Mike. Yeah, right.
I've been hate to say we're getting the second one up because I've been waiting to have him on for a long time, and yeah, it's going to be fun to get into side of Eric and talk a little bit about the NWT and all the stuff he has going on because this man is busy. So we'll bring Eric in and see how he's doing tonight. Hey, Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. We're hanging in there and on to the next event already.
Yeah, no kidding. Good to see you.
So when you first popped in before we started the show, you were standing outside and the rain must have hit you.
Yeah, it was just about to start, and we finally got some wind with that storm coming. So I was like, well, we better go inside and make it easier.
You got that front edge of the wind. So let's tell people where you're at right now, what you got going on, and then we'll get back into your NWT and your past history a little bit.
Yeah, so right now we're on Castle Rock Lake. It's kind of south central Wisconsin. It's the AIM National Championship, so it's the top 40 guys from the season last year between the 4 divisions. So it's a fun event. So top 40. Everything's off limits until Monday of Memorial Day. So everyone gets 4 days of practice, and it's go time. So,
perfect. And so, how's the fishing been?
It's been tougher than I thought. It was depending who you talk. I've never been here before, so depending who you talk to, you need a couple 30s a day. And then it was right before the thing happened. It's like, all right, you're going to need 18 in the 19s and a 22. And that's close to what we're finding so far. But we got one more day tomorrow to figure it out. And, hopefully we're just not burning our luck yet.
So let me ask you, where are you? Straight south of Stevens Point, or are you southwest?
It's basically straight south. Might be a little southwest. It's probably an hour south. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right
so you're. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're right there in the weather. There's no doubt about it. Holy cats!
Yep. Yeah, it's been flat, calm, and sunny, and 80 to 90 degrees for 2 days now, and now we got some of the rain coming. So.
Well, we appreciate you saving the best for last year. You were on the JMO.
Yep.
And honestly, I think one of the guys that I'm more excited about than anybody else is the Tom Boley podcast. I really love Boley's podcast. You were on that. That was maybe a month ago already, right?
Oh, yeah. I think it was right after. It's.
Did we lose him?
I don't know if we lost him or not. All of a sudden, it just kind of voice went away. Are you there, Eric?
Yeah, but now.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I might have put my hand over the speaker.
It was like, and then I couldn't hear a word. But no, well, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get a little bit about your history, where you call home now and a little bit of your history, because you're a younger guy, but you're kind of an old timer on the circuit.
Yeah, I'm getting to be the old timer out there, and it feels weird to say that because I just turned 26 a couple days ago. So,
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I grew up on Mille Lacs in central Minnesota. Moved out to Wisconsin. Now I'm in Algoma, so just south of Sturgeon Bay. I've lived out here for probably 5 years now. So
and how long have you been fishing on the circuit?
On the circuit itself, this is my 6th season. So the 2021 season was the first year on the pro side.
Okay.
So let me pop this back up again so people get a little perspective, right? Because you've got a championship, you've got a tournament win, you've got AIM, you've got well, what do you got there? 6. 6 number ones, right? So that's in 6 years. That I'd say that's doing it right.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable start to my career so far, and I can't be happier about the way it's been going.
And so, obviously, for people that live under a rock, you kind of followed in Dad's footsteps a little bit.
Yep.
So you got your dad, your uncle's out in Devil's Lake fishing, guiding out there. I mean, it's a family business to go out here and to chase these walleyes all across the country. But so you dubbed in this thing 6 years ago on the pro side. 6 different. How long you been fishing the AIM stuff then?
The AIM. I think Dad and I did one when we were young. Otherwise, it was 22, 23. One of those years. My buddy and I from high school jumped into it, and I think we won the second one. Fished just the one that year on Green Bay. And 23. Yeah, so that was 22. So 23 decided let's fish the whole thing, see how it goes. Championships in Green Bay. Kind of did mediocre all season, and then the championship we took like 3rd place, I think. So we qualified for the Nationals. Well, then we got sent to Lake Oahe for the Nationals, and we ended up winning that one. So that got us the boat there, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
Okay. So hang on. I'm doing the math. I'm putting things together here. So COVID was your rookie year. Right?
A year after COVID.
Year after. Oh, so 21.
It depends when you count it.
Okay, well, so I was thinking about Tom Wynn, coming onto the scene during COVID, and being as successful as he is. Well, you're right up there alongside of him. And frankly, in the last couple of years, you've been right up there alongside of him and others like you are. This year's a good year for you. If the National Walleye Tour actually had their Angler of the Year listed on the website, which they don't. It's 2025, 24, 23, 22. They don't have the current year there, but
it's it's a different. They switched it to that Fishing Chaos app.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on that now.
Oh, for Pete's sakes, got to go hunting somewhere else. Well,
we talked in Mobridge. Where did you end up?
I'm sitting tied for 2nd right now.
Yeah. Okay. So does it go Bo, then you, then Gage Gordon? Because I'm doing the math in my head.
Yeah. So Gage and I are tied. We're 2 points behind Bo.
Okay. All right.
So then it's a little bit of a drop off, and I honestly don't remember who's right back there. But there's a lot of good sticks right behind us. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But it's fun to see you 3 in the top 3 right now. It's after 2 events, but half the season's already over.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of season to go, and I've been in this position the last couple of years, and I know you can't let off at one point at all. And it takes one bite, and you're in it or you're out of it.
Well, the next 2 events are kind of home water to you, right? I mean, that's what we call home now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those 2, and it could go either way. It could be really good, or it could be really bad with the home lake curse, or hopefully just keep ourselves in it and go to Skakaway and crack it out there.
How did your gut feel about the next 2 events on Green Bay? I mean, really, your gut feeling. Do you have a little
Yeah, Escanaba, I don't spend a whole lot of time in Michigan, at least not up that far in the slot stuff. So that'll be, it's not new, but it's not what I'm used to. Once we get to Oconto, yeah, I'm super excited for that one. I got a lot of confidence out here in July. It should be a fun event.
Yeah, it's really interesting going, there's been a lot of hype, or I wouldn't say hype, a lot of turmoil around two events on green.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I think they did it right by saying you have to stay in that respective state. So it's basically two different events. It as on the angler standpoint, I wish they would have kept it open so we could spread out further. You get enough guys that are go for a long run one way, and that just opens up more spots that we have close type of thing. But,
yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, that's a little something different this year that they put boundaries in. I mean, we know that they've had boundaries because of the drama on the Canadian waters the last couple of years, but what do you think? I mean, a boundary in Mobridge, when I heard that, I'm like, well, the NWT's never put a boundary out. What's the thought? I don't know if you have the insight, but what's the thought process in your mind behind that? And what's the, how do you feel? Like I said, it's going to tighten up the fields. I get Green Bay. So did they just do Lake Oahe because they did Green Bay too? Or?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. We've been asking for 3-4 years now, and probably even longer, to put some boundaries on just so we don't have to go so far. Well, we don't ever have to go that far, but we feel like we have to go that far.
Oh, I mean, what the first event in Skakawea that Dewey won up there when he was jackpotting one, he said I ran up to Tobacco Gardens, had to fill up with gas.
Yep.
Just to even fish, basically.
Yeah. Luckily enough, I didn't fish that one as a co-angler, but Dad talks about it a lot still. It was 114 miles one way in that event, and it was nuts. I'm glad I didn't have to do that ride.
$5 a gallon this year.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking about a couple days ago. Is 2 events now. I've used 1 full tank of gas, and I don't know if I've ever done that before.
Yeah, that's not such a bad thing then.
Yeah.
Save a little money.
I personally like the boundary. It keeps the field tight. I mean, that's like everybody complained to me about the Gov Cup for years of taking the boundary off. And then when Chris Haynes won it, we had him on the podcast. And I contemplated for a long time, but Chris said, he said, winning the Gov Cup in that tight of boundary with that many good sticks means something more than having the whole river open. And I'm like,
yep.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that too. And I've always liked having tough fights like we had in Oahe. And I think adding a tough fight to a limited area of fishing, it makes it that much more special to do well in that event.
Yeah, I as a tournament director, they're always like, let's go to good lakes with good bodies, good bite, that the right time of year. I personally love the tough bite, right? Like I personally think if we're going to show who the best on that particular body them couple days is, I don't want it when you can go out there and put 100 fish in the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
If everybody's catching 12 pounders and putting 100 fish in the boat, that's just a gamble on what fish you keep.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, here's a perfect picture of how tough it was, right? I mean, this is it. I mean, there's your answer right there. It was pretty amazing when you've got a lot of guys who are really good sticks coming in with that one big fish, which Oahe certainly has, and then you've got your unders, your slot fish. You caught a PB out here, but that was in practice, right?
Yeah. In practice I got the PB. That was still probably my best day of the week out there. I had 3 walleyes that whole day, but they were like 8.5, 12.5, and like an under that was 2.9 or something. So it was pushing 23 pounds for 3 fish. But,
okay, so I'm gonna get a little personal. I was watching the reel, and I was watching your Garmin, and or live scope. What I didn't, it goes by so quick you don't know. It's Garmin though, right? Yep, Garmin. Yeah. Well, you got the Garmin hat on, so it makes sense. So anyway, I'm watching that, and I'm like, okay, he's not He's not out in deeper water, not out in the trees, not doing that thing. But you were fishing what looked like a fairly decent drop off. Were you working fish on the bottom, suspended? How were they holding there?
Most of my big ones came out of the trees. So
Okay.
on that 12, I was fishing the trees. I just on the bottom side of the river channel, and I happened to look towards the shallow water, and I was like, "Oh, there's a good one," and just threw at it, and was like, "Yeah, that's the right one." I had my uncle Aaron in the boat at that point. It's like, "Yep, that one's definitely over 8," and pitched at him, and it ate it on the first drop. It's like, set the hook. It's like, "Oh, that's over 10."
Yeah, and then it got in the net, and I went, "Oh yeah, okay, that's a 12, 13 pounder, right?" And yeah, just huge.
We got it close, and I didn't know he was recording at the time, so I was waiting for him to grab the net and scoop it. It's like, "Oh, you don't have the net. I gotta grab the net quick."
So, I would like to know how many people caught their PB on Lake Oahe last week during that tournament, because you're not the first one that said that. I mean, there were a lot of guys that talked about catching their personal best.
Yep. I don't know how many, but I bet you I heard probably pushing 10.
Yeah.
Maybe more than 10.
Yeah, I mean,
there
was a lot of people talking about how they caught their personal best that week.
Yep. Yeah.
One team went home with both overs.
Yeah.
So, it was pretty crazy. It was awesome. Like I told one of the guys, I said, "Here's the deal. This tough bite doesn't bother me because now the secret is safe, right? I mean, people know about it, but like Kurt said, if you'd have come and put 100 fish in the boat, and if it would have been just suicide and big one after big one after big one, kind of like it was the NTC in 22, now you're in May, now you're going to have boats and people fishing like there's no tomorrow. So I think it helped us keep things a little calmer here.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I think it helped a lot too, being early enough that we could have a little live release tournament, and most of those fish all survived just fine with that cold water. And it was nice when I go to South Dakota and put some fish back in the lake after the event.
Well, and that was great. Like Wednesday was watching the live feed, and because then Thursday I was up there, but the amount of pictures when they would show, like pan over and show the guys holding their big fish up, when they pull them out of the tank and the water splash off the big one because it's still kicking. Yeah. Like guys wrestling them in the tank Thursday to get a hold of them. I mean, they weren't just in there; they were alive and ready.
Yeah,
to go.
They were healthy, and like day one, my bag, it felt like 2 minutes for it to lock in. It was probably a solid 20-30 seconds before they had calmed down enough to get the scale locked. They were nice and alive, and my first 2 big ones came in the first hour and a half, so they sat in that Ranger live boat all day, and I think the boats these days just do such a good job keeping them alive as well.
Well, and that's, I said it a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and I said, or last week we had Jeff on, I said, when South Dakota made the law of kill after June 1st, that was 25 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And live wells are not what they are today. I mean, now they're insulating them. Now they're doing, they're putting recirc on them, auction. We got G-Juice, all the things that. Now, do I think we could keep fish in, August, September, late July, August, September? Probably not. Once they go deep, we know their survival rate's a lot less. But, all them, I'm not going to say every one of those fish went back, but I guarantee a large majority of those fish went back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I felt good about it.
And like Trapper said, it was that water was rough, Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need boundaries for this tournament because the water was just too rough to make that long run. It was crazy.
I was up there last Monday fishing. Were you marking a ton of fish?
It literally depended on the day. Like my good spot, or my good big fish spot in practice, I saw probably 4 there in the mile stretch. Day one, I roll through there, and there's probably 50 or 60 of them. And I go there day 2, and I saw 2 in 2 hours. So they were definitely moving. I know some guys say they're all resident fish, but there's definitely a migration that happens, I think.
Yeah. And you talk to biologists on this lake, and they say the first, I live at Spring Creek area, so they say basically the very southern fish, Cows, Okoboji south, them fish will move less than 1 mile in their entire lifespan.
Wow.
When they've done the tags, them fish will stay within that 1 mile radius.
Yep.
As you go up the river, the fish move a lot more.
Yep.
You know, they've never had a southern fish, which, you know, current, whatever, but they've never had a southern fish caught up north, but they've had north fish caught down south.
Yep. Yeah, I believe that.
Caught in pier.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a tagged walleye. I was tagged in the Morrow, and I caught it in the Whitlock area. I think just right off the flats. You know, and that happens a lot, right?
Yep. Hey, my buddy in 2020, we were out and he caught one right off front of Spring Creek between Spring and Cow Creek with a tag in its lip, and the skin was growing over. We barely seen it. He called it in, and the biologist sent him an email and said, "Hey, I've got nothing going on. It's COVID. If you want to know more about this fish, call me." And so he called him, and that fish was tagged less than 100 yards from where we caught it 8 years prior.
Really?
Yep.
Now, saying that fish lived there in that 100-yard stretch its whole life, but to catch a fish 8 years difference, 100 yards from where they put it back in the water,
that's pretty
tells you those fish don't move. Yep. But the northern fish 100% move.
Yep. I wonder how much of that when you said like north fish go south, but when is most of the tagging's done in the spring when the big migration's up north? I think that's a big part that even with all the technology these days, I think we're missing that aspect. It's hard to tag them when they are down south, type of thing.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, true. I'd love to see more tagging. I really would. I'd love to see some of these electronic tags. I'd love to know, like they have put out on Erie. I'd like to see some of that migration and really get an idea of what these resident walleyes look like compared to those that are going north for the winter. You know, it just would be fun to see.
So let's get a little bit into more of your Lake Oahe. You know, see, you're out here, you practice. Practice had to be a roller coaster, it sounds like. Tell us a little bit about practice and into the tournament and where your headspace was and how you came up with a game plan.
Yep. Yeah, so coming into it, even with Dad fishing forever, he's never been there this time of year, so we weren't really sure what to expect. We know most of the fish should be somewhere semi-close to the takeoff there. I think day one I started down by the Morrow and I couldn't tell you I saw a walleye. I never caught one, and I might have saw a couple, but couldn't catch any. But that was a good start to the week.
I heard plenty of people say they had at least one. Well, Chad Schilling said he didn't catch a fish in practice one day.
Yeah.
So, you know, Chad Schilling can't catch fish on Lake Oahe. That tells you something.
Yeah, then we all know we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So the second day, I think I caught two. It was like a 20 and a half and probably a 14 or 15. So really nothing that you really wanted. I think my third day, or it was the third or fourth day, that's when I finally had that good day. I had the 3 for 23 pounds. That really helped my motivation for the week. Was it I knew from being there in 2021 that you didn't necessarily need your unders. Like, you needed them to win, but to do well, you didn't need those two. I knew I could go get 2 bites and they could potentially be 8 to 12 pounds or even bigger. So the next couple of days, I just drowned out trying to find unders. I did part of that and trying to find the deep trees to find some big fish again, and just really could never find another area that I could duplicate where I was just south of town there. And made the call up that morning, the first tournament. I'm going to go start there. We're going to put 2 fish in the boat, and they're going to be for 20 pounds. And if not, we're going to go run around like a chicken with their head cut off and just pray to the Lord it works out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a lot of people's strategy, and I think it bit a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I think that strategy of I'm going to put my 2 overs in the boat, and then I'm going to go get my slots. I know Bo said that. He's like, I didn't leave enough time to get slots because I was too worried about my overs on day 2.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a picture perfect start to this tournament for me. Rolled in my big fish spot, went to the first good tree that I had from practice. I was like, put the scope in the water, and there's 4 or 5 big ones sitting on it. Threw in there probably 10 or 15 times so that the wind had made the water dirty for us. And those fish were lazy, I think, because of the cold water. So you had to put your bait within a foot or 2 of them before they would even think about moving after it. So between dealing with that wind and then the current would drag it 10 to 15 feet for a 1 ounce bait by the time I got down there. I got that bait in front of it and set the hooks. Like, all right, this is a good one. We need this one right away. And it was 28.5, but it looked like I swallowed a basketball. So I never weighed it, but it was well over 10, I would say. So that was 5-10 minutes into the morning. So that was just a good motivation thing. Keeps the nerves in check for the rest of the day after that.
Right. Did you think the unders were gorgeous? I mean, I just absolutely every one that came across the scale or that got hung up when we were taking pictures, I just was amazed at how chubby they were. Some guys said they thought that they were probably pre-spawn or they were reabsorbing, and they weren't. They were just that healthy.
Yeah, they're just that fat. We kept a couple for a fish fry one night, and it was like, this one should have eggs in it, but it's just like an inch layer of fat around the inside of that fish. It was crazy.
Them fish, like I said, every fish I saw, there was not every fish. There might have been 1 or 2 that didn't look that great, but every other fish was just a tanker. Like they were fat. This system's got it's fed them well. Now I fished up there a couple times over the last couple weeks. Did you see a lot of bait?
I didn't. By the Morrow, I did. There was a lot of bait there. There was a lot of, I don't know if it's herring, whatever the bigger minnows are that they're eating.
Yeah.
Up by town, up by Mobridge, there definitely wasn't that much for bait up there, I don't think.
Yeah, I fished one day 2 weeks ago north of Mobridge with a guy, and we saw a couple bait clouds, but nothing big, right?
Yep.
And then we were down on Casca last weekend and saw quite a bit of bait clouds. But, I mean, I'm kind of glad we're not seeing the miles of bait clouds like we have in the years past. Like, you go for a mile and it's nothing but bait. I'm sure that's coming when the gizzards hatch and, everything gets back into a normal routine. But I think there's plenty of bait in the system, and because these fish are showing it. I mean, I talked to guys ice fishing this winter that did get a fish in granted February is going to be your best time, right? They're putting their feed bag on. They actually are full of eggs. I had a guy catch a 22-inch walleye out of Spring Creek Bay that went 5.23.
Wow.
For a
really
22-inch walleye, right? I mean, like I said, granted, perfect time of year, you can't get it fatter, right? And I mean, but I'm just like, that just shows. And then during the Pier Winter Fishing Weekend, Paulie Steffen was fishing in his boat on the southern end, and he said his 19 3/4 were damn near 4 pounds.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So if you're talking 19-inch fish, almost 4 pounds.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
That helps. That was one of my second day. I had a 19 3/4. I didn't weigh it, but it had to be all 3.5.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It looks so good.
That's got to be a 22, 23 incher. Somehow it happened to be 19 3/4. Like that's going to the box.
That's exciting for a lot of people coming here fishing. Really.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't mean to rip on AIM because I really like what AIM does, but that's why I don't like catch, measure, release tournaments, right?
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you get screwed in that regard. Yeah.
For everybody, I get it. You all play in the same field, but man, when you have fat fish like that, the weights aren't represented right.
Yeah, I go back and forth, like fishing both of them so often. There's a lot of so when my girlfriend and I won Green Bay last year, we probably gained an inch or an inch and a half because I happened to find the post-spawn fish, whereas everyone else is catching pre-spawners. And with AIM now, it's one hand on the fish, so there's no pitch in the tail, there's no stretching them or manipulating them whatsoever anymore. And I think that helped a lot versus NWT or live weight. On Green Bay, for example, you can go down south and catch a 30-incher, but it's a pound less than a 30-incher up north.
Yeah, so I've been saving this comment. I'm glad you went into that. So Trapper said it seemed like this. I'm taking this as a Green Bay comment because that's what we were talking about. It seems to be different kinds of walleyes in Bay Denok versus the southern part of Green Bay. They look they look just a little different in color. Weird.
Yep, it definitely is. A lot of it's, you get out of that southern third of the bay, and the water's a lot dirtier. So that's where you get like the more Lake Erie, Lake Oahe looking fish, where it's more of a pale walleye. You get basically north of Sturgeon Bay, and the rest of the way north, those fish are as gold as can be, because that water is 10 to 30 feet of visibility, and that sunlight can penetrate deeper. Because even you catch one up there at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, throw them in the live well for till weigh-in, and you can notice a difference of it's already losing some color on some of those fish.
Really?
Crazy how fast it happens to certain ones.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So let's get back into Oahe. So obviously you were scoping. Let's talk a little bit about what you were using. And I know one of the things that you have on your boat, and I want to hear a little bit about your brakes.
Yep. I absolutely love them. Joe Okada got me into the power brakes last year that we put on our power poles. And being one of the first walleye guys besides him to run them last year, it's an absolute game changer. I would never run a boat without them again. Whether you're in tournament fishing, if you're a fun fisherman, if you're a scoper or not, being able to stop the boat on a dime with just a simple push of a button, it helps a lot. I can go backwards if I hit the button and hold it for 4 seconds, I'm going backwards at 2.5 miles an hour.
Really?
2 years ago at the Classic, I ran into that guy, and he's like, "I've got him on Joe Okada's boat. I want to get him on some more." And yep. I walked him right down to you and Tom and said, "These guys right here."
Yep.
And yeah, that was. He's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, trust me, really." Like
yep.
this. And I think I counted Lake Erie takeoff. I watched the video, and I counted how many sets of brakes on boats, not poles, just brakes. Yep. And it was like 36 boats going out on Lake Erie with brakes on and no kickers.
I believe it. I was guessing it's got to be close to 50, 45, 50 now. Yeah.
I didn't count poles. I was just counting brakes on the live video, right? Like, okay, that was a brake. Yeah, it's crazy to see these boats. And one of my buddies who ended up in the top 20, top 15, he was pulling cranks with his trolling motor, and he said he was using the brakes not on, just in the water as like drift socks to hold his boat.
Really?
Yep. And he said it was amazing the boat control he had pulling cranks with his trolling motor with those two brakes in the water, not even touching them. He said it just kind of kept the boat never did this. It just stayed.
Yep. Yeah.
So are you operating the brakes together, or are they separate?
Oh, they're together.
They're together. Okay.
Both at once. You got one button to go backwards, and you get one button that can go forward.
Okay, now that makes sense to me, because in my head I'm like, well, if you're controlling them separately, it's got to be a shit show.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it takes a time or two to get them straight, like perfectly straight. So if it's calm and you're off on one by an inch, then you start spinning in a circle.
Oh yeah.
But it's amazing what you can do, and a lot of it's the brake part of it. But even Oahe, when we're dealing with those big winds, and I like to go into the wind no matter how big they are. And with this, I went to a 75-inch Kraken, so I got the longer shaft. That was still coming out of the water quite a bit, so I could hit forward on those brakes, and that would keep my momentum going forward as the trolling motor came out of the water. But I could let off the gas on that, so it wouldn't create as big of a cavitation. And between here and then the championship on Green Bay, I did that too, and that allowed for at least one extra bite in both events so far. And I can't be happier about it. It makes up for what it costs, what the cost is of those products.
Yeah. I mean, Tom said when I asked Tom after he had him on the championship last year, I said, so what's it like? And he goes, well, at first you got almost be ready when you hit the stop button.
Yeah.
Like if you're forward, it kind of jolts you forward. It stops so quick.
Yeah. Yep.
It's pretty impressive. So let's get to what you were doing. Trapper says he's glow perch.
I tried it, but I don't know what the perch population is out there, but it wouldn't work for me. I had to go blue silver.
It pales in comparison to everything else.
Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit about what you were doing there.
Yep. Yeah, so for the big ones, I was targeting trees, kind of just the staple deep fish stuff or big fish stuff. The trick I was doing was going down current, which come game day was into the wind, but I could throw my bait, which was a 1 ounce hyper rattle in the blue silver. I was throwing that just short of the tree, and after doing it for a few days, I figured it was 10 to 15 feet that current would pull it for how deep my trees was. So I could drop it just short and drop it underneath that canopy of the tree so I wouldn't get stuck nearly as many times.
So is there anything that drops quicker than that hyper rattle?
Not that I found.
Right.
It's amazing how fast that bait drops.
It blew my mind. So last Saturday we were out, and we went from Piro to Fielder. So we're in that Moroa Cask area, Swan Creek area. And I was throwing jigging wraps, and I'm like, okay, I got to do something different here. We're in a little deeper water. I got to try something. So I put a hyper rattle on, and I gave it a chuck, and I looked over at Toby, the guy I was fishing with. I looked back, and I'm like, what the heck happened? What the hell happened to my bait? And so I picked up on it quick. I went, oh my God, it's at 35 feet.
Yep.
And it dropped 35 feet in. I looked over, looked back, and I couldn't find it. And it's amazing. It takes a little getting used to, but it will scream down 35 to 50 feet quicker than you can really watch. It's amazing.
It does, and it's so much of a difference. It's hard to go from like that to a jig and wrap or
Right.
vice versa. It's such a different fall rate that I don't know if it triggers those fish, whether it's that fall rate or if it's the profile. There's like jig and wrap's longer, skinnier, whereas hyper rattle shorter, fatter. One of those things. It's definitely each bait plays a big part depending where you are.
There are a couple colors that work better than the rest too. In my little experience with it.
Yeah. Yep. If I was to grab two off the shelf, it'd be glow perch and blue chrome. Those two work 98% of the lakes every single day.
So I was hearing rumors in the crowd or talking to guys in the crowd last week, and they said, were you ripping it hard, or were you? Because I heard the guys were just like barely picking up to get fish to bite.
You had to throw that bait to get down there, but you couldn't rip it like you're supposed to. You had to just swim it past those fish and kind of just hover it and yo-yo it, and they would end up eating it.
Yeah, I heard if you ripped it, they might swim away. They might look at it, but most of the time they weren't biting. Sometimes they'd scatter, sometimes they wouldn't. But if you just sat there and barely just swam that bait, then you could get them to trigger.
Yep, that was the biggest key this week, because I didn't bring any of my extras because they're not supposed to work when it's 55-degree water or whatever else like that in the spring. So I ended up ordering a bunch of them and overnighting them just to get here by day 2. I was going to lose a lot in the trees, but it was weird. Started practice, I was doing that, and I got lazy that second day and threw at one. It didn't bite, and it just kind of pendulum swung, and that's when that fish hit. And I was like, all right, maybe that's the key I need right there, is just be slower on what we're doing here.
Yeah, you lose less too.
Yeah, you do.
Well, and the other thing, it seems to me like you can break them loose from a tree because an ounce is an ounce, right? But there's something different about that hyper rattle that just, I don't know. It's a weird bait.
Yep.
I know we talk about those bait clouds and the fish. We ran into multiple, larger, probably 15, 20, 25, 30 of those. I don't know what they were, if they were Cisco, herring, I mean, whatever it was. It got to the point where saw so many of them that for me it was a game because we weren't catching, I mean, we're fishing. And I'm like, out of boredom, I'm like, well, okay, about 35 feet out over. And I would try to chuck that hyperglide. It went too fast, so I had to go back to a jig and wrap just to bust that cloud of bait up to see what would happen and hope that it would wake a walleye up, and it never happened. But boy, did I bust up bait, and it got to the point where it was a game, and I forgot about fishing.
So you targeted the trees. What did you do to get your slots?
So day one or both days, I started pulling bouncers right away. Nothing that it wasn't something I expected to do whatsoever. Luckily, I brought a couple bouncer rods just in case. But just pulling slow death and a crawler and a fathead. Day one, we got 116.5. They went in the box, and then a couple shorts. And then honestly, I got sick of pulling bouncers, so I went back to jigging. And probably 4 or 5 spots into the day, or into the unders or slots, I ended up finding a spot that I got a 15.5 and a 16, and that rounded out our limit.
I don't know how many people told me, or a couple people said I messed up and didn't bring my cranking rods.
Yep.
I think Oahe woke some people up to some old tactics.
It did, and that was one when we were driving out there. My dad called me. He's like, "Yep, I did. You'd be proud. I didn't bring my trolling stuff." I was thinking to myself, this is probably one that I was even thinking about bringing my trolling stuff too.
So that brings that. We have a question I've been hanging on to from Chad Miller Fishing. I have a ton of respect for both you and your dad. What are you doing different than him? You continue to kick his butt.
Good question.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think the biggest part is understanding when I throw it and I see the bait falling, I recognize that it's not going to be within 6 inches of that fish, so I reel it back in right away and throw out 3 more times. He'll fish it for a while to make sure, or to try to get that bite, but it just doesn't always work. I'm going to say I make 3 to 4 times as many casts as he does, and I think that's honestly the biggest difference.
So is your old man pretty good with the scope?
He's getting there. It's definitely been an improvement for the last pretty much each tournament the last couple of years. He was one where I was probably one of the earliest adapters, whereas he hung on to the old style way for longer. Part of that being Drake and I like live scopes, so he would keep doing the old ways just to make sure it wasn't working. So he didn't get as much practice right away. But
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like we saw last year on the tour, Lake Sharp, that scoping really didn't play a factor.
Yeah. Yep.
Granted, Lake Oahe, your guys' top guys were all scoping, but a lot of the top cast checkers were not scoping.
Yep. From our math, 2 of the top 10 this tournament came trolling, and that's got to be the highest for the past 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know in the top 15, if you say 2 are there, I know 2 more that were in the top 15 that were trolling.
Yep.
So it'd be really interesting. So, I mean, and that's the thing, like we've talked for a while, like we had, old school Jim Randash on. I don't know if you remember that name. Your dad would know Jim Randash, but we were talking about baits and how presentation and people, baits wear out. Well, and it can be mind boggling to me and a lot of people, like how can a jig and wrap get wore out? But I think a jig and wrap, ripping it like we've been doing, like you're supposed to do, is wearing. I mean, there's times, unless you land them on their nose in this lake, 5 years ago, you cast jig and wrap at them, and if it got within 5 feet of them, they were smashing the thing.
Yep.
Now, if you don't land on their nose, good luck.
Well, think about this though too. When the jig and wrap started to get hot out here, that was not in the trees. That was on points.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, you were passing point. You were passing points, looking for big marks and pulling them out there, and then that went away. And it got to the point where you heard guys in the bar just absolutely just pissed off because the fish were gone, and then somebody found them where they are now. And are they going to stay where they're at now, or are they going to leave the trees? That's my curious thing.
Yeah.
If we keep pounding them like we do.
Yep. I think it's just an evolution of everything. Like when the jigging reps came out, at that point you just used 2D, you draft around, threw behind the boat, jigged it twice, and you got a fish on, or you'd move on to the next one. Whereas now that we can be so accurate with our casts and everything, that these fish are learning. No matter what we think of how dumb a fish is supposed to be, they're learning.
Well, the thing that I noticed last weekend, and it's happened in the last couple of summers that I've been fiddling around with this scoping thing, but you've got a fish at 25 feet, you chuck it out there, your bait hits the water, and I'm like, it's gone.
Yeah.
So do you try and look for those, or do you just move on?
I usually move on. If they spook, I'll move on. I think that's the one thing using live scope. If a fish spooks, the odds of you catching them without following them for 20 minutes is slim to none. And then targeting walleyes, this is one of the biggest live scope tricks, I think. Any fish you see that's swimming, 90% of those you will not catch, and it's not worth wasting your time to throw at them. Yeah. Most of the time, you drive around till you see one that's not swimming, or he might be, if you're in Lake Oahe or a reservoir where there's some current, then they'll be swimming a little bit. But if they're sitting still or relatively still, those are the ones you want.
So are you chasing those suspended walleye, those marks that are above the trees, that are 10, 15 feet above the trees? They seem to be pretty active, but...
They seem to be active, and more of those that I caught were... a lot of them are moon eye or golden eye or...
Yeah, okay.
Whatever those... Whatever version of
skipjack,
not many of those are walleyes for me.
Okay.
Most of the walleyes out in the trees were in the trees, or they were lower off to the side of the trees. It seemed like they would be in the trees, or they would just swim out at the same level. They wouldn't really come up any higher.
Well, the other thing I heard was a lot of guys were struggling catching fish out of the trees.
Yeah.
So the tree bite wasn't, it works for you. I don't think a lot of guys were on the tree bite.
Yep. And I definitely believe that, because it wasn't an everyday thing. Like I said, where I went out there one day and I caught one or two, sorry. Then I caught three, and then I didn't catch any in the trees for the next 2 days. Everything else came just unders that were up shallow. I think most of it was just a confidence thing, where I didn't have any confidence up shallow, so I just kept going deep, hoping for my 2 bites, and thinking in this event 2 bites could get you 20 pounds, or you can go chase your 5 unders that are at most 12 pounds.
Yeah.
So how long are you sitting on, let's say, a group of trees, or even just one good tree that's got some marks there? I it's getting to the point where I'm like, if I'm not getting any action in 15 or 20, I'm out of here, because right now I'm throwing at the wrong fish.
That's probably about what I do. So my first fish that I was talking about, I threw at that probably 10 to 20 times. I don't remember for sure, because I kind of black out when I do it. But,
3 hours later.
Yeah, I don't waste a lot of time anymore. If it's a good tree and you see those fish are active, or that they chase you once, then I'll grab a different bait, or I might throw in there, and then I'll grab a different bait and try throwing in there. If they don't hit that within a couple more casts, then I'll move on.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so we got a question here. How's Castle Rock treating you? You kind of said earlier.
I'd rather be on Oahe again.
I get you.
So, touring all around, fishing all these different bodies of water, where's your favorite place?
Green Bay and Oahe.
Yeah, Hawaii is such a special place, right? Yeah. I mean, it can be fickle. Yeah. But I mean, in the last 4 or 5 years, this lake has really blown up, and everybody's kind of complaining. I think I watched a video of Tom Wynn. He's like, it's down, water's down, right? And I think Tom goes, my waypoints from last time are up there on the hill. right? I'm sick of hearing, oh, I want the water to come back up. Keep it down for the rest of the year.
Didn't Finsel say it was? Didn't Mark Finsel say it was going to be down 6-8 feet or something like that in the next year or so? So
keep it down. Let them willows and them all that stuff grow up, because this lake will absolutely explode when the water comes back up.
Yep.
And
okay, so let's go back to Green Bay real quick, because Green Bay is huge too. Lake Oahe's huge, but Oahe's got its places to fish. Green Bay, if I went to Green Bay, I'm going out of Little Sturgeon Bay, something. I'm fishing that east side. Where's your favorite spot in that whole big body of water?
It all depends on time of year. Where like spring, you always start down south, like Sturgeon Bay south, and as that summer warms the water, you just kind of keep gradually moving north. A lot of it out there is rock piles, but it's not always on the rocks itself. It's adjacent to those rocks, off in the deep water as well. But it's more of a wind-driven, current-driven lake than I think anything else.
So you've kind of only been fishing the circuit since the live scope era. So, but growing up, I mean, you spent countless hours of time on the water with your old man. And, we used to have graphs littered with waypoints, and we fished spots.
Yep.
Is that even a thing to you?
You drop one a day, maybe.
Wow.
More of it's dropping it in the general area, so you know kind of where you're at, but really it depends where we are. Like Erie, for example, you drop one, and then you're going to fish within 2 miles of that the next day. Where Oahe, we marked the individual trees, even out here on Castle Rock, we're marking individual trees that we want to fish. Because generally that right tree is going to hold fish more often than any other tree.
You talk about marking trees, that the Dr. Sonar chip, when it says there's a tree down there, there's a tree down there. Except for some of them that, some of them die, right, and they do disappear. But blows my mind at how good that Dr. Sonar chip is. So did I hear Jeff say you're from Algoma?
Yep, Algoma. Yep.
Okay, so you've been to the hardware store then?
Yep.
And you know Kathy? Yeah, okay. All right.
We made it there.
Right on.
It's been like 2 years since he brought up Algoma's bait and stuff. We had pictures one night on here at the store. We do have a question, and this is a great question. I appreciate it. You guys got any questions for Eric? Throw them on here, because this is a great question coming up. You come from the fishing history. If you could fish with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would you fish with?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a great question.
It's hard not to go out with Dad again, because we haven't. Growing up, we fished together a lot, but now that we're both in separate boats, we don't fish a whole lot together anymore. Otherwise, I'd probably have to go with my grandpa that passed a couple years ago, and Steve Lobbs that passed last year.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard question, right?
Very
Wow.
hard
Yeah.
question.
And you grew up in this industry, so there's a lot of guys that people would put on their top 3 that you probably fished with over the years or associated. Yep. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that you've ran around with your whole life that and that's a great answer, because 100% your dad. You're never gonna get enough time fishing with him, Grandpa, and then your partner from the head-to-head that passed away. That's a great answer. But yeah, I mean, I was sitting there trying to think the 3 I'd fish with, and it'd be my dad. I'd love to fish with Bob Prupp Sr. one more time. And I'd honestly be tied between you and Tom to get in the boat with. Yeah. So I mean, that'd be a tough one, right? I mean, it's hard to answer 3.
It is. There's a lot more than 3 you want to fish with again. Yeah.
So I mean, okay, aim this week, or aim. When's your aim start this weekend?
Friday, Saturday.
And then you told me in Mobridge you're a working man now, so you got to go to work and then to Green Bay. Is that your next stop?
Yep. Yeah. I go to work for a couple weeks, and then up to the Escanaba for the next NWT.
We got another question here. What
Ooh.
is your confidence bait?
The hyper rattle. One ounce hyper rattle, no matter where or what time of year, I'll throw that thing, and I'll have confidence. I should catch a fish on it.
So was the hyper rattle the key on Erie too?
Out there was a jig crawler.
Jig and crawler.
Yep. Yeah, I tried the hyper rattle, but that water was like 38, 42, 43 ish, I think. I think it was just holding off that hyper rattle wouldn't work.
Okay, so being a northern boy, Wisconsin, Minnesota guy, Mille Lacs Lake kid, you think about that. So we're talking about cold water, on Lake Erie, but we've dropped hyper rattles ice fishing.
We do, and trust me, I've asked many people this year, like, why don't Jigging Raps hyper rattles work in the spring when we throw them all fall and all winter and they work?
Because we're doing it different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right in the winter, where it's just a nice, tight little. We're not. I'm never doing that. Not that I'm good at it, but I think we're fishing them different ways.
Yep, and I thought that too. And even vertical jigging them in the spring doesn't work nearly as well as it does winter fishing or ice fishing.
Yeah, I remember when they kind of started popping popular, with the Jig and Wrap through the open water here, in the last 10 years. And I remember my dad going, "That's our ice fishing bait. Like, we never threw them open water. We never threw them open water." Yeah.
I think it's been longer than 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm betting it's almost 20, because I think in 06, 07, maybe 08, I was out here. I started doing the Boars Trip thing and having fun with that. And everybody's laughing at me. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Uncle Lou, yeah, more dollars. It was a crazy thing back then.
Eric. I said it's been a long time since we cost Uncle Lou money. So thanks for coming out. We haven't cost Uncle Lou money in a while.
Oh crap! Speaking of money, okay, have you had a chance to fish with Rick Darling, the co-angler from Mobridge?
I don't think so. I think Dad might have had him. Dad or Drake, I think, had him.
Okay, so Jason Mitchell posted this. He picked up Rick at Eric's over there in North Dakota. Rick's from Leeds, and of course, Jason's certainly in the Devil's Lake area. But check out this tat.
Nice.
That didn't even take him a week to get that. You don't plan that ahead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get your chance. Just get trophies tattooed.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Under your eye, just do just little trophies.
Yep.
So, well, Eric, man, it's been great having you. I appreciate you taking your time and jumping on with us tonight. And good luck. One of my favorites to watch. And good luck at AIM this weekend, and go crush them, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on again. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Things are going your way. Ton of fun to always chat with you, and great to have you on the show. Thank you. Thanks a million. Absolutely appreciate it. All right, man. Good luck to you.
Good luck, buddy. See ya.